Okay, welcome back again. It looks like we're on episode 16 this time. It's me and my good lovely guest Joe once again. How you doing, Joe?
I am fantastic. It's a good day, Anthony.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And why is it a good day, Joe?
Well, one, we both have off. Anthony decided to call off work and give the new guy his hours because, he's a lazy prick. But he was like, oh, you need hours? I don't need them. I'm going to stay around the house and be lazy all day.
Yeah.
Unlike his cohort here. Well, no, I actually also didn't do anything either. So I guess we're in the same boat about that. But
I was wondering if it was just going to be a call out at me for no good reason, but at least you threw yourself under the same bus.
That's
one thing you can rely on with Joe. If he's going to throw you under a bus, he's also going to jump under that bus and be like, hey, look where we're at.
Hey guys, you want to get hit by a bus? No, it was a fairly good day. I just indulged in my childhood. Speaking of like video games and whatnot, because you love your video games. I just got like the revamped Need for Speed, and it was awesome because I used to play that game all the time as a kid, and they should bring back like older school video games. I was gonna get the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, but it was still like $25, and I was like, I don't know if I want it that bad.
Tony Hawk's cool. A classic series.
I don't know what it was, but the second one,
right,
was just that was my shit, dude. Like,
it had like obviously a great soundtrack.
Yeah,
great like environments. You almost had just as much fun just skating around and looking at shit as you were just playing the game.
Yeah, like who knew a skateboarding game would be so open world, so to speak, you had your levels, but there were some of those levels that there were like 4 or 5 different places you could go type thing. Like I don't know, I might buy it. What are you playing currently? What are you doing currently?
I've been maybe trying to get back into a game called Binding of Isaac, but I have not.
What kind of BDSM shit are you getting into, Anthony?
Binding of Isaac is put your phone on silent.
That's my bad.
Or keep it off the desk.
That's my bad. I apologize.
Yeah, it's fine. It's what they call a roguelike. So you load in. It's a randomized randomized, every floor, every level is different. And as you're playing through, you're trying to get stronger so you can get through to the end or the multiple endings it has. But if you die, you have to restart all over again. So it's one of those things.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, death is like permanent for it. But there are like consistent upgrades that you'll get throughout the game that make it a little bit more interesting. Doesn't necessarily make it easier for you, but like the main character Isaac eventually gets something called the D6, which is like a dice, and he can use that to change some of the items he gets. So there's like some things that'll upgrade the characters, make them a little better as you play through. But Binding of Isaac is not for everybody.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't sound like
the theming of it is very
BDSM-y.
It's I can't tell if it's strictly anti-religion or
Anthony's character has a ball gag.
There is a gimp hat in it. Yeah.
See, look, all I'm saying is it's going down a rabbit hole.
The Binding of Isaac is a biblical reference, though.
Oh. We live very different lives.
Well, I'm not interested in it for that reason. It's just that's why it's called the Binding of Isaac. It's not because he's been bound up in a gimp dungeon, but it looks the same. At the end of the
to each
day.
their own. It's 2021. We don't judge anybody.
Yeah, but the game's got a lot of blood and poop and
I was down for one of those.
Yeah, it's a very different game, but it's entertaining enough in its own way.
I have questions, but I don't really want any of them answered.
One of the upgrades is called Brimstone, and it lets you shoot a blood laser, which is pretty sick.
I don't know how that would work. But I'm kind of in with the blood laser.
Yeah. Like not all of it is, poop and pee. Some of it is a fucking badass blood lasers.
Speaking of blood lasers, all right. Have you seen the Mortal Kombat movie trailer?
I haven't, actually.
Oh, God damn it, dude. How do you not be into video games? You're like, no, hell no, Mortal Kombat's like, that's...
Mortal Kombat's for normies. Keep going.
Oh, wow. Shots fired. We're not even 5 minutes into this podcast, and this asshole's already taking shots.
No, you're asking me for a reason why I didn't see it. I'm not excited for Mortal Kombat.
Why are you not? How can you not get, like, fatalities? That's why you should be excited.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the entire point of the game, right?
Like, there's this really cool part in the trailer, like, Sub-Zero cuts Scorpion, and, like, his blood spurts out. Scorpion freezes it and stabs Sub-Zero again with it. That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Look, man, I'm watching Mortal Kombat for the same reason I'm gonna watch Kong vs. Godzilla.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for the story.
No.
I'm looking for somebody to get hit with an axe or set on fire. Like, spoiler alert, Godzilla wins. But
yeah.
I mean, you figured he's a giant-ass lizard, man, with, like, armored scales and, like,
nobody was really
breath.
expecting Kong to win, right?
Like, dude, I was rooting for Kong because he had an axe, and then I was like, oh, yeah. Atomic Breath kind of beats that a little bit. Like, that and Godzilla's just... It's basically like a Tyrannosaurus Rex versus a baboon type thing. You're just... It's just not going to end well. Like, mammals were... When it comes to size comparison, mammals aren't that big. Like, I mean, you look at a monkey versus, like, a croc. Like, that saltwater croc is going to eat that monkey 10 out of 10 times. Oh. What about, like, a croc versus, like, a giant ape or something like that? Or like a gorilla. I'd watch that. Croc versus gorilla.
No, I mean, I feel like the gorilla would win. Assuming the gorilla doesn't get bit, because, I mean,
all you gotta do is, like, just clamp down on their jaws when they're shut, because they can't open them. Like,
you just grab the tail and, Super Mario 64 them out of there.
Okay. I kind of like that reference.
Yeah. The gorilla would do it, too. He'd grab by the tail, he'd do, like, a spin real quick, because they're very showboaty animals, and then he'd yeet him into the sun.
Yes. Why are we not writing movies, Anthony? This would sell. This would definitely sell.
Maybe the podcast would sell first, and then we'll worry about movies.
All right, okay, fine. Baby steps. Baby steps. Like, we're very happy to have all three of you listening. Especially you, Mom. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for being there for us. I haven't met you, Joe's mom, but I appreciate your continuation of partaking in this stupid podcast we do.
So, Anthony, why I brought you here today? This is very sacred. It's my house now. This is a very sacred day to some people. Do you know what today is, Anthony? Don't say Tuesday.
It was a Tuesday. It's April 20th.
Yeah, 420. Not Hitler's... I mean, technically, yes, it's Hitler's birthday. That's not why we're celebrating.
We didn't have to bring it up, but
look, it's one Google away from knowing it's Hitler's birthday. All right, but no, 420 is the national holiday for Buddha lovers. Okay, and I'm not talking Buddhists either. I'm talking the cannabis.
Oh, I was going to say, Buddha seemed like a good guy.
Buddha was a good guy. He had a lot of really good things to say. And I bet you Buddha smoked weed.
You probably did.
I would smoke weed with Buddha. That would be wonderful. They're like, what if we just sat down, Buddha, Jesus, me, had a little bit of toke, and we just talked about things? I'd be down for that. Maybe that's what heaven's like.
Jesus would do some crazy shit, turning water into wine, turning a fucking bubble gum into a full-on steak. I don't know.
Bubble gum into a falafel?
Yeah, you'd just be like, Jesus, why'd you do that? And he'd be like, why wouldn't I do it?
I'm Jesus.
Yeah.
You think he can play peekaboo with kids?
And then he just vanishes. The kids don't see him again until 3 days later.
What did he give up for your sins? His weekend? I'm done. I'm done before my mom stops listening to this podcast. So, no, it is 420, the International Pot Smokers Day. 420 is celebrated every year, April 20th, because 420 is the police code for marijuana citation or violation.
Really?
Depending on, yes.
I always thought it was like 420 was the average time people were getting off work and getting home and settled.
I mean, that's reasonable. That's reasonable.
Though what you said makes more sense as to why it was like a solidified number.
Yeah, it it was 420. That is the police code for marijuana violation. And so it was kind of the stoners' way of like sticking it to the cops. Like, haha, fuck you, pig boy.
Right, use it back on them.
Like, use it back on them. And
Okay.
now that it's legalized in so many different states, like, it's crazy because when it originally started out, everybody used to do it. Like, the history of marijuana is quite great. I took some notes, and by that, I mean I read some things on the internet.
Right,
but that's ultimately taking notes, right?
Debatably.
Yeah, whatever. Plagiarism, that's a high school thing. It's fine. Do you actually know that, like, there was an emperor of China that dates back to 2737 BC?
That's a long time to be dating.
Yeah, that's a long time. Whoa, huh?
That guy ever just, like, tie the knot?
No, I just don't think they were really into... I mean, he
wasn't
didn't tie the knot, but he'll bind your feet if you know anything about Chinese culture.
Ooh.
Oh, look at that. Coming full circle back to the BDSM, baby. Yeah, there was an emperor that used to make cannabis-infused tea as a treatment for, like, ailments and stuff.
All right.
They were onto this millennia ago. Like, multiple millennia ago. Multiple millennials also smoke pot. I'm a millennial, okay?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it started off way, way then. And it, like, moved all over the world, too. This isn't, like... Everybody associates pot with Jamaica, all right? That's just what happens. You associate pot with Jamaica.
Yeah.
But it, like, started in China. Like, they grew it in China, which... If you know anything about cannabis, it's a super finicky plant. Like, it is the diva of fucking plants, all right? Too much water, too much sunlight, too much the wrong soil, the wrong alkaline in the fucking soil. And it's like, I'm done. Fuck you. So it's kind of hard to grow. But, I mean, it started off in China and, you know, them trading with India and all that. It made its way into the Middle East. And that's kind of where, like, it gets really cool because they kind of... I can't tell you the whole process of it, but they turned it into hashish. Which, I mean, you can probably look up online what it is, but it's a more potent form of cannabis. And... I'm going to tell you, those Middle Easterners were onto some shit. And I'm pretty sure that's why they were really good at math. They were probably getting high as balls, and they were like, hey, so I got these things called numbers. All right. And, like, they were just trying to figure stuff out. Or not. I don't know. Maybe they could have been a super race, but they were like, hey, let's just get high as balls. Like, maybe...
Are you contributing the birth of, like, mathematics to
Well, yeah, because that's where it was born in. Our mathematic... is Arabic, right? Our mathematics is Arabic or something?
Sure, yeah.
Our number system?
Yeah.
I remember hearing that or something. I watch a lot of the History Channel, believe it or not. And then it made its way to Western civilization, which is the best civilization. Fuck you, Eastern whatever. There was an Irishman. Go figure there's an Irishman in this tale somewhere. William O'Shannessy. I fucked that up, whatever.
The Irish is like, oh, we're abusing a substance? Hell yeah, let us in on that.
What are you talking about? They would never do that. Popularized cannabis for medical use, and I'm going to use that term very loosely in this episode. Medical use in England, and that brought it over to the U.S. They actually used it to, like, used it for the pain of, like, arthritis, and it was pretty good at dealing with moments of discomfort and nausea, which, yeah, I know a lot of people that smoke weed for, like, nausea pains and stuff like that.
I didn't know nausea, though.
Yeah, it helps me with, like, my joints, like a 1-to-1 THC CBD. Oh, man, like, it helps me with my joints so much. And then, because America can't have nice shit, Anthony, they were like, no, we gotta ban this stuff. Now, there's a whole slew of bullshit that's gonna happen. And yes, just like anything else in America, racism is at the heart of it. Anything bad in America, through 6 degrees of separation, can probably be linked back to racism. Fuck you, racists. Fuck you. Okay, but in 1937, everything decided to change. The fucking government passed... It's always the government, too.
I don't think it would be anyone else.
Damn you, school board! Tell me I can't smoke pot?
Yeah, the fucking roadways were like, I don't know, dude. Pot. Let's cut that out.
So many stone drivers. So they didn't outright ban it. They put this ridiculous tax on it. That was something like 50 or 60% of the price could be taxed.
Yeah. And,
these guys are making like pennies on the dollar at this point, so the people that need it the most can't fucking afford it. So there were objections raised by the American Medical Association, right? Those guys are cool. I mean, they're government too, but they're a little bit cooler.
Maybe care a little bit more about the actual science.
Right? There was science. Like, it's not gonna... Look, bro, if you have, like, heart disease, it's not gonna cure your heart disease.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you have liver cancer, not curing your liver cancer. But if you're like, yeah, man, my hands hurt, or like, oh, I got this really bad headache, or I just got these nasty stomach bugs, like, I'm telling you, hit a little bit of the cannabis and come back to me in 2 days. All right? And I'm talking good cannabis, not that shit that the street dealers are trying to sell you. All right? That's a whole nother thing that I will eventually get to. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. It got banned in... Let me see here. Basically, is what it was, the Mexicans, because they had to be in here somewhere. The Mexicans were growing that down in Mexico, and they were basically kind of shipping it up here to, like, their workers and everything.
Okay.
And, like, all of a sudden, white guys were like, hey, dude, fucking Juan's got some really good shit, and then they started smoking it. All of a sudden, prominent white people were like, no, we don't want to smoke the plant from them dirty Mexicans.
Okay.
Which is shit, because it is wonderful, and that is a great culture, and they have amazing food. Viva la Mexico. Anyway, so 1939, they decided to outright ban it. And they went on this huge smear campaign, which is actually cool, because my buddy of mine has the original Reefer Madness reel.
Oh, okay.
They put out Reefer Madness, and is what they would tell you it would do. It would make you be attracted to black people, Anthony. They were like, if you smoke the jazz cabbage, you will legit, like, you'll be interracially, like, drawn. You'll be drawn to somebody that isn't of your race. And apparently back then, that was a huge fucking no-no.
Right.
Which, that's kind of shit, considering I'm in an interracial marriage and my kid's interracial now. Not that he looks like it by any means, because he fucking doesn't. But I swear to God, there is Hispanic in that child.
Right.
But yeah, they outlawed it and banned it.
Yeah, it's just such a weird connection to make, saying like, oh, yeah, it'll rewire you to like other races. It's like, okay, and that's a problem because
they were telling people that it can stop your heart too.
Jeez.
The only thing it's gonna stop is you getting off the couch.
Right.
And now that's an indica strain, but I'm also gonna kind of cover that a little bit too. So stay with me. We're going on a ride today, Anthony. Okay. And literally all this legislation was aimed at black and Hispanics.
As they tend to be in that era.
Yeah, I mean, in that era, hell, have you seen the TV currently?
Right.
Like,
still.
Yeah, still kind of there.
But less...
not as bad.
I guess not as blatant, but
it's not as blatant.
Some of it's
definitely
still blatant.
more. It's still It's a little more closeted today. You can't just go around popping the N-word off at people in public anymore. That's a no-no. So it's a little more closeted, but unfortunately, it's still there. Yet again, fuck racism. Anyway, yeah. So they were targeting blacks and Hispanics and poor whites. Even poor whites were involved because, you can't get your medication. I can't get my headache medication, or I can't do all this shit. So I'm going to smoke a little bit of this plant,
Mm-hmm.
It was cheaper. And a lot of people were growing it. And I mean... It was up until recently. The war on drugs, like, essentially it was us making green illegal that gave rise to the cartels. Like,
Right.
their cash crop in Mexico was marijuana for the longest time. And then they discovered cocaine. And then they discovered methamphetamines. But it still started over the prohibition of cannabis. Name me one time, Anthony, in this wonderful country of ours, prohibition on anything was like, yeah, that shit worked real well.
I can't think of any. Definitely not alcohol. Didn't work out.
The alcohol gave rise to the mob, and people were doing it anyway. Like, it was rough. And then they were like, all right, well, we're gonna outlaw opioids. Wait, no, hang on. We're gonna only tell you that we can give you opioids, and then when we get you addicted, we're gonna be like, whoa, hang on, we got you addicted. We're not doing this anymore, which gave rise to the heroin trade even more so now. And it's like, every time these fucks try to prohibit something, it just makes shit worse. Worse, man.
Yeah, the opioid epidemic is still something that you and I will see at the hospital pretty frequently.
I'm seeing it once every couple of weeks. Someone is like, oh, I hurt my back. Well, your CAT scans came back fine, and this is the third time in a month you've been in here for reasons that we just can't find. We're going to give you some, I don't need no Tylenol, I need Dilaudid. And they freak out, and now I've got to ask them to leave, and it's a whole big thing.
And then they get labeled a drug seeker for seeking the drugs
that they were drugs that they were given in mass quantities of.
That it was well known was addictive on a love scale that high. But
that's another thing. Like, THC and CBD can be like a lower grade, like a Tylenol 3 level of painkiller.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people don't understand. Like, you mix it with the right ratios, it can be a pretty decent painkiller. I mean, I got people that smoke marijuana for severe migraines that pills couldn't touch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, same thing. I've got a friend of mine who smokes it for fibromyalgia because there's some times where she can't get out of bed without, lightning shooting through her muscles, and she'll take an edible. And it doesn't fully kill the pain, but it lets her get up and go through her day. And, she's not in the hospital 2 days later. Like, I broke my back. I need more oxycodone.
Right.
It's not addictive. I mean, if you have a addictive personality, yes, you're getting addicted to pot. But you're also probably addicted to things like sugar, things like alcohol, sex, whatever. You're probably addicted to other things, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's been proven, cannabis is not addictive. I mean, like I said, unless you have an addictive personality.
Right. It's not a chemical interaction like nicotine would be, or...
Yeah. Or caffeine, or anything like that. I mean, hell, I'm addicted to caffeine. Like, I get headaches without a little bit of it. But I stopped smoking for a good amount of time or whatever. I don't know. I stopped smoking for 3 months. I don't get the headaches. I don't get withdrawals, I do it for a lot of pain management because my body's been through hell, boy. My body has just been dog shit beaten out of it. It helps me, man. Like,
was dog shit the name of one of the boys you trained?
Oh, that'd be a horrible nickname. Hey, dog shit, get over here.
But then when he beats you got the dog. You got dog shit.
He's not coming back. Oh. Dog shit, no. Yeah, it wasn't even looked at until I want to say early 2000s. Las Vegas. Go figure. Las Vegas, Sin City was like, all right, guys, let's sit down and let's talk about this. Why is marijuana still illegal? This is a huge cash crop.
Mm-hmm.
Why haven't we why haven't we cashed in on this? I mean, we're Vegas. We're a city that wants to make money. Like, if you've ever been there, trust me, they are swindlers out there. That's what they do. They're good at it. It's legal swindling, essentially. I'm just also really mad because I didn't win anything at the tables. So, yeah, fuck them. They're swindlers. But yeah, the first dispensaries popped up in Nevada. Nevada was, I do believe, now I might be wrong, but Nevada, California, Washington were some of the first states to approve not only medical but recreational marijuana as well.
It sounds right. From what I've heard.
Like, and Colorado. I forgot about Colorado.
Right.
But I've got a good friend of mine I used to fight with. He works at a dispensary in Colorado now, and they make money hand over fist there. And honestly, I much rather, which I don't know why this isn't a thing. This needs to be a thing. We can go out and we can drink all the alcohol we want.
Sure.
And there's not a lot being done to stop us from getting behind the wheel of a car or getting into a fist fight with a guy at the other end of the bar.
No, not really.
I mean, other legal penalties, but at that time, they're so drunk, they don't give a shit about it. You know?
Yeah.
You can do all this horrible shit on alcohol. And you could do it in public. Why don't we just have, like, a weed smoke bar? Like how they have, like, cigar bars, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, make it THC. Because here's the thing. You drink too much, you puke, you possibly get alcohol poisoning. Do you know what happens when you smoke too much, Anthony?
You start floating.
I mean, yeah, you will get hallucinations, but that's usually more edibles than smoking. You pass out, essentially, that's what you do. You're like, hey, man, I'm going to go take a really nice nap. That's what happens when you quote-unquote overdose on weed. So why don't we have, like, a weed bar instead of alcohol bars? No, I'm not saying get rid of alcohol, because obviously I love whiskey too, so I'm on both teams. But I'm just saying, why don't we just get... Anthony, let's start a business. We can start a weed cafe.
You know,
what have I done?
The funny thing is, don't get me wrong, I'm on the side of legalizing weed, even though I'm not, like, I've never partaked. I fear the reefer.
You wanna go out to the car real quick?
I don't meet with Mary Joanna, you know.
You've never danced with Mary Jane.
But
she is a sweet lover. One
thing I always find funny is during arguments, like, in favor of it, people always, like, compare it to alcohol, which I get. You know, they're both you know, good time substances on their own. The thing that I always find weird is just, like, talking, like, you really start to bring up some of the bad things about alcohol when you talk about weed, and it's like, maybe just, like, steer clear of that route, you know?
I mean,
I think maybe more laws controlling alcohol maybe wouldn't be a bad idea, but not anything that, like, you know, again, no prohibition or anything, but I think definitely if you fully made both legal, right? Like, no limitations on how much alcohol or weed people do. More people are going to die because of alcohol than weed. And it's like, I don't know. Whenever I hear arguments in favor of weed, I always think, like, yeah, we definitely do just kind of ignore the fact that alcohol is an issue. But, like, apparently weed's the big demon here.
Right.
Like, it seems like it's not as bad.
It's not as bad. And here's the thing.
It's still like, under the influence. I mean, you shouldn't be getting in a vehicle.
No, don't drive. Don't smoke or drive.
But not nearly as bad as alcohol.
No. I'd rather be behind a stoner than a drunk. Like, because, I mean, most of the time, from what my limited experience is, you know, that drunk's going to sway all over the world. His vision's not there. He's delayed reaction time. That stoner's probably just going to sit at that stop sign waiting for it to turn green. Like,
yeah.
That's how it is. Like I said, I partake in both of them. And me drunk is a lot more reckless than me stoned. Like, when I'm drunk, I'm always like, hey, you trying to go play football, or, you know, you trying to go... I'm probably going to end up trying to do something stupid and impulsive. I mean, not like felony stupid or impulsive, but hey, I bet you I can jump the Kishwaukee on this bike.
Right.
But if I'm stoned, I'm like, hey, man, you trying to play some video games, or, like, you want to order Taco Bell or pizza or some shit?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that blows my mind in a lot of these Bible Belt states, which we already know that's the anus of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are still getting locked up for marijuana. Like, locked up. It takes, on average, $17,000 a year to lock, 17 to 23, my bad, 17 to $23,000 a year to lock up an inmate at a county level. That's not even a state level. at a county level for marijuana charges. Okay? That blows my mind that this guy who smoked a little bit, who had a couple ounces in his car because 420 was coming up, is sitting in the same cell next to a guy who is on trial for killing 3 people. Like, how does that even begin to make any type of sense whatsoever? Marijuana's a victimless crime. It's not like I'm coked up, holy shit, I'm going to go kill my ex because I feel invincible. Like, that doesn't happen with marijuana as it does with coke. Like, or you overdose on heroin or whatever. Like, all that's bad. Like, it's just bad. But I just think marijuana has been absolutely just a shit smear campaign ran on it.
Yeah, I don't even know if scapegoat is the right term, but it's definitely, the weed isn't the issue. The issue is lawmakers wanting to find something to put a vice grip on and to punish the poor people, the people in poverty, or, the people who could really be utilizing this, drug as a medicine or as something that could, be more beneficial to them, or even just something as recreational.
Yeah.
It's like, the lawmakers are probably going to be above their own laws anyway, so they're probably partaking whatever they want.
Especially in this country.
But hey, you got any good funny weed stories, you and your friends?
I have a couple really funny weed stories. One is concerning me. One of the many times I've done edibles. A buddy of mine makes his own edibles. And he's like, hey man, I left some on the counter, go ahead and grab one. Well, there's about a $50 sized Rick and Morty head on there. And I was like, oh, I'll take that one. Now, as somebody who's never done edibles, I tell them do about 5 to 10 milligrams, wait about 2 hours, see how you're feeling, and then do 5, 10. Don't do more than 20 milligrams at all for a first timer. I did 75 milligrams. All right, now I'm not exactly a first timer, but that is a fuck ton of THC in your system.
You're a big guy, though.
I am a big guy.
You're kind of fat.
Ow. Also, the pot kettle.
Oh, what was that? The pot kettle.
All right, look, there's a lot of pot involved in this conversation right now. It's the pot calling the bong black. Fuck you. Yeah, I ended up on the bathroom floor at my buddy's house trying to cling to the walls because I was afraid of falling out of the bathtub, which I wasn't even in.
Nice.
If you take too much, you'll throw it back up because your body's like, you just poisoned me. You ever thrown up colors? Because I have. And here's the thing, and why I'm a huge advocate for this. It enhances what you're doing. For example, I'm like, man, I really don't feel like cooking tonight. I take a couple hits. I smoke me a bowl or a joint or something, and I'm like, dude, I really want some spaghetti. Not only spaghetti, but I'm going to make meatballs, and I'm going to make my own sauce, too. And next thing you know, like, you're enjoying this. I got music playing. I'm Mario Butelli right there, and I'm yelling at my dog like I'm fucking Gordon Ramsay because obviously he undercooked the fucking chicken. And I can't have that. I can't have that. All right? Not in my fucking kitchen. I don't know why there's dogs in my kitchen either, but remember, I'm kind of stoned at this time. To me, it makes music better. Like, I don't have a lot of really funny stories because I hang out with a bunch of, like, responsible stoners.
Ooh.
And, like, the guys that they work their job, come through, and, like, I got a buddy of mine. Me and my wife go hang out with him and his wife, and, like, we'll go over, pass a blunt around a little bit, we'll make some dinner, watch movies, like, all 4 of us go to work. And we do whatever we do, we come home, and it just kind of relaxes us, Especially an indica strain. Like I was talking to you earlier, there's different strains. For different results.
Mm-hmm. Right.
For example, Anthony, what are you currently suffering from? What is an ailment that you are suffering from right now?
I don't know. It's got a weird, real specific name. It's called Joe.
Oh, that is a horrible, and weed is not going to make that go away. Weed is not going to make that go away at all.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll say I'm kind of tired.
Okay, so you're kind of tired, right? Now, do you get tired during the day, or, do you get tired? I mean, you would probably be tired just climbing up a flight of stairs there, fat boy, but, yeah, I'm going to return that fat joke. So
there was vengeance in that one.
So you're tired, or
says the guy who came over with Taco Bell.
Yeah, well, that was celebrating today, all right? We were celebrating the wonderful holiday.
Little, Baja Blast slushy.
Shut up. It is fantastic, and I think you all should get one. Don't let him play his game.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying.
It's wonderful, and I will partake. And shut up, I'm a dad now. I can do this. I can have a dad bod. But, for instance, you're like, oh, I'm tired all the time. Well, there's a strand that you can smoke called sativa. And literally, one of the best sativas in the world is called green crack. All right?
Okay.
You're going to smoke. It's also known as the Incredible Hulk as well.
Okay.
So, you smoke a little bit of this is what it does. It goes through your system. And kind of gives you that, almost like a caffeine buzz.
Okay.
It's like, oh, I want to go do things. The way I can tell you, it makes you high. Fuck, dude. Sorry, I'm a little inebriated today. It makes your mind high. It went from, oh, I'm tired, I just want to take a nap, to holy shit, we can actually do some things. It clears up the brain fog.
So less of a body feeling,
yeah,
more of a head, a mental feeling.
It is a mental feeling, and the right sativa or sativa hybrid will get you going. It'll get you thinking. It'll get you like, wow, this is really good.
Sativa sounds like an antidepressant. It's just
it is kind of an antidepressant.
Take sativa on days when you're just not feeling yourself. Keep in mind that you taking sativa and you feel a high for longer than 4 hours, you may want to contact your doctor.
If you have a hard-on for more than 4 hours with sativa,
you may experience diarrhea, vomiting.
You may experience diaries.
You may experience having a new diary. You wake up the next day like, where the fuck did I get this?
I mean, look, I've been a little high and then woke up the next day and I got an Amazon package. And I'm like, when the fuck did I order this? I mean, I never regretted ordering it, but I'm like, wow, I don't know how I got to this point last night.
Sativa Joe always thinks about future Joe. He's
he does.
He's going to love this.
Really, you have no idea how much I talk to myself in the third person.
On Amazon, is it is this a gift or is this for you? And you're like, can it be both?
Yeah, so you spoke a little bit of sativa. Now, on the other side of that little thing, spectrum, is indica. Indica, how I always remembered it, was Indicouch.
Uh-huh.
Say, you came home from a long day working your job, and you had to wrestle with some psychs, and Jim fucked up and jumped on your back, or you got hit with a chair or something, and you're like, damn, that was a really rough day. My body hurts. So you come home, you spark up a joint, a good old indica. So now you're like, damn, I got a little bit of body buzzing going on. Okay. Mm-hmm. It feels like it takes your pain away. It feels like there's a little bit of static, a little bit of tingly feeling. It makes you kind of giggle a little bit. And it makes me giggle a lot. Yeah, I said giggle. Say something about it, fuckboy. Anyway, yeah, I giggle a lot. And, you can sit down, you can enjoy your video games even more now.
This is the Joe that orders the live, laugh, love signs to hang up on his wall.
All right, look here. They're beautiful, and that's how you should live your life, Anthony.
I don't know about that.
I mean...
You're the one who threw out
all right,
the giggle.
Here, plushy boy. You have no room to stand about anything like that. I'm sitting right next to... I don't know what it is, but it's definitely a plush toy.
Right.
All right? And you are a grown man with a shelf full of plush toys.
That's what makes me happy, Joe.
And corners full of sticky, hard socks. But
That part's not true. He's lying about that part.
Totally true.
There's not a single sock on the floor.
Lies. It's all lies. There is a box of Kleenex sitting next to me. He claims it's for his nose. We all know it's not.
Okay, mister, I understand your allergies.
I mean, I do, but... Oh, that's another thing that it can possibly help with is your allergies. Like, headache allergies, sinus headaches. Like, it clears up my sinuses. Like, more so edibles than smoking it.
I wouldn't have expected that.
I don't know why. I don't think that's a common thing. But it might relax something in my nose.
Yeah.
You know? That's the beautiful thing about marijuana, too. Like, you can extract the THC out of it and make it into oils. I'm gonna compare it to alcohol again. Alcohol, what can you really do? You drink it. You know what I'm saying? You can't really eat it. I mean, you can, like Jell-O shots, but marijuana, you can smoke it, you can drink it, you can eat it, you can put it into butter. Like, they have THC butter now. Like, with the oil, you can put it into anything and, like, get precise measurements of it. One of the things I am a huge advocate for, and you can find these at your local dispensary, is tinctures. Is what a tincture is extracted... Oh, I'm sorry, you yawning because I'm fucking boring you? Am I fucking boring you, Anthony?
No, go on.
This guy fucking hates me because he doesn't smoke pot because he's better than us.
No one said that.
No, that's exactly what he was saying before the fucking mic turned on. And he's like, fuck all these stoners because this is a stupid holiday and I have no friends and no girlfriend and I never will because I've got a whole fucking shelf full of plushies currently in my room and I don't like marijuana. Is that it? Is that fucking it,
Was there
Anthony?
a point for this bit, Joe? Or
No, I just wanted to yell at you a lot.
Because none of that was true.
Anyway, it wasn't. But in my mind, it was. And that's all that counts, Anthony. Yeah, Anthony doesn't smoke pot, which, I mean, more power to you. Fucking, I don't care if you do or not.
Right.
But I'm going to sneak a tincture into Anthony's beer at some point, and we're going to go on a fucking ride together. Okay? Well, yeah, like I was saying, the tincture thing. My friend makes a really good honey tincture. And you take it like just an eyedropper. Couple of drops in your, like I use it for tea. Put it in my green tea, and it tastes a little bit like honey. Yeah, you're gonna get a little bit of that cannabis taste because that you just.
Well, yeah.
Without stupid amounts of unnecessary chemicals, you're not gonna get that taste out. But let me tell you, it is some of the most relaxing shit, bro. Like, it makes it feel like the weight you carry around during your day melts off of you. Now, that might be slightly hallucinogenic, but it's a beautiful feeling. Just smoke pot, Anthony. Just one time. Do it with me one time, Anthony.
What does it really matter, I guess, at the end of the day, if it's hallucinatory or if it's, legitimate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you're feeling better.
You're feeling great. I feel fantastic.
Whose business is it?
Yeah, exactly. I use edibles, especially for insomnia. Mm-hmm. Like, my wife uses them for insomnia, and they work. They work better than sleeping pills for me. Like, I can take, like, a Unisom, and it's 3 a.m., and I'm online playing Call of Duty or some shit. I eat me a 20 milligram edible, and I'm like, I'm sleeping. Like, I mean... It's not like a crazy good night's sleep, but the fact that I am sleeping is nothing short of a goddamn miracle some nights. You can put it into candies. Like, cannabis chocolate is actually really good. Like, they have gummy bears. Like, I got mildly high one time and tried to create a cannabis hot sauce. It did not go as well as I wanted it to. But look. Edison didn't discover the light bulb right off the bat, right? I haven't failed 10,000 times. I've just found 10,000 ways that didn't work.
He first tried to make light bulb chocolate.
Do you actually know the forefathers were big fans of marijuana?
No, I didn't.
They were. Except it was in the form of hemp, which is basically not the nugs. It's the actual plant. Like, the only thing that you can get high off of is the little nugs, the little buds of the flowers.
Right.
So anything else can be made, and that's another reason why I'm for the legalization and the mass growth of it, because right now we're cutting down trees to make timber.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fuck those guys. I like trees. Trees are my friends. Like, they give me oxygen, and they make the world a more beautiful place.
Right.
And they don't grow back. It takes decades for a tree to grow.
it takes a lot longer for a tree to grow.
It takes maybe 6 months, or 6 to 8 months for a marijuana plant to mature to where you can make hemp out of it. Hemp can be made into paper. It can be made into ropes. It can be made into clothing. Like, basically anything cotton or wood or softwood. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be hard. You can't make a baseball bat out of hemp.
Right.
But, like, for a lot of textile things, if we grew hemp like we grow tobacco, or we grow soybeans or corn, if we grew it like that, we could put so much effort into rebuilding the forests. Like, I know that sounds hippie as fuck. There's a little bit of hippie inside me, because I love nature, and I love hemp, and I love marijuana. All right?
Nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I told you a little bit before the podcast. I watched a show called, or a channel called G4.
Oh yeah,
which was largely like a gamer channel, and they had an animated series that ran for a while called Code Monkeys, which was about 2 guys who worked on video game code. Like, they worked for a video game company. God, I think even like the first episode of the first, maybe it wasn't the first episode. One of the episodes even opens up with the guy waking up from, smoking too much weed, and he's missing his pants, and he painted his dick green. And he goes, "Why is my dick green?" And the other guy goes, "Because you said, and I quote, 'My dick is a sexual serpent capable of spitting its venom everywhere.'" And then he goes, "I'm a goddamn genius." That line will never leave my head. But yeah, they had a 420 special. Actually got Tommy Chong in it. Pretty cool.
That's awesome. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah. I think they didn't have weed on 420, but they did have this old hemp rope, which they smoked, and it put them on a bad trip.
Yeah, I feel like I've never smoked hemp, and I will never smoke hemp, but I feel like it's definitely not going to end well for anybody.
Probably not a good trip kind of deal.
Like, it's horrible. Like, that is really cool, though, and weed has permeated itself into all facets of society. Like, it's heavily involved in the game society.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know all of my not all of them. There's a couple, I have gamer friends like you that don't smoke weed, but the majority of my gamer friends, they like their weed. And a lot of them actually have their own strands that they're like, "Hey, man, I really like, this strand. Do you know any dispensaries that, like, can get them for me, or any dispensaries that have them around here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you should go over to blah, blah, blah in Aurora, or blah, blah, blah over there." And that's what's really cool about it. Like, everybody, like, I have my favorite sativa is Afghan Kush. My favorite indica is Blue Dream. And the different plants, the different things, just like anything else, they can be twisted and molded and bred. Like, Darwin used to bred his pea plants. You know? Same thing, same concept. And, like, there's different tastes, different flavors, different looks. Like, have you ever actually seen, like, a marijuana plant?
Before the process? No, I don't think so.
They're beautiful, man. Like, let me just look this up for you. I need to show you this just because it's beautiful.
Yeah, while you're looking it up, you touched on how often, like, gamers will smoke pot. And definitely it's a less dangerous drug to partake than, like, Adderall or fucking oh god, what was the other one? There's definitely an issue, especially with some, like, esports players, some of that, like, higher professional players, where they'll take drugs that are meant for people with ADHD so they can focus.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if necessarily weed would replace those things, but there's definitely an issue with people taking those drugs. They shouldn't be purchasing them when they're not they're not prescribed to them by their doctors. They shouldn't be using them as often as they are.
No,
because that can have
at all.
That can have worse adverse effects on them than just weed would have.
No, it's. I much rather. Let me toss this question at you.
Right.
All right. I know people that have had eating disorders that have smoked weed to help them get their appetites back. If weed gives you a really good appetite and you're a competitive eater, is weed a performance-enhancing drug? I mean, if you really think about it, that's a really good weed plant. Like, that's beautiful. Like, the colors in that, and like,
it's crazy. Looks like you taped a bunch of Yodas together.
Okay, I don't know about that part, but I gotta say that, like, it helps me concentrate. It definitely, like, when I was a kid, I had ADD, and they were like just throwing Ritalin and Adderall and all this stuff at me. I didn't like that shit. It turned me into a zombie. Mm-hmm. And like, as an adult, I could still be taking that, but I prefer to smoke a little bit of weed. Like when I know I'm getting amped up, I mean, I'm not fully dependent on weed either. Like I have because I do see a therapist, and she's equipped me with other means to kind of help get me down from that manic stage. But like if I'm at home and I'm in a really manic stage, I'll spark a little bit of Blue Dream, and it helps just calm me. Like it kind of hits the reset button on everything.
Right.
And now I am not prescribing kids cannabis for kids. That is not what I'm doing. But I think we should be doing more research into like THC and CBD, holistic kind of ADD management through that. Not just shoving these pills down people's throats or
right. I mean, we're already at the point where we're giving kids medicines anyway for things that may or may not really be that big of an issue. So
I mean, I've seen way too many, and especially at the hospital. Obviously I'm not a professional, but some of the things I've seen, like, they just throw things at people, and it's like, that's going to lead to a problem down the road.
Not even necessarily the staff we work with.
No, not the staff we work with, but like I'm talking about the medical industry as a whole. Yeah. I should have probably said that first.
Right.
But the medical industry as a whole, like when I was a kid, he didn't talk about therapy. He didn't talk about anything. He was like, here's some Ritalin, shut the fuck up, go away. Yeah. Like, and that was the counselor. That was not the counselor. That was the psychiatrist. It was like, he was like, I don't want you to be here. You're another number. You're a paycheck to me. I solved your problem. Here's some pills. Get out of my office. Mm-hmm. Like, he didn't care, and, even when I was younger, I tried to go to another psychologist, and he basically did the same thing. He's like, here's your problem. Here's the pills. I don't know, maybe go see a therapist or something. It wasn't until I was 30, 31 that I really found a therapist that worked, and a psychiatrist. I was like, hey, you should take these really, I think this really low dose of lamotrigine would really help you out. And if you continue to smoke pot, I think it would kind of help balance out the marijuana as well, and kind of like, they'll play off each other. They'll help each other in calming you down. And like, that's crazy to see someone that in the forefront of medicine, instead of just throwing pills out there like, hey, I'm going to put you on a low dosage pill, but I think you should also keep smoking marijuana, because we have statistics now that have shown that this can work. Like, it's still in its infancy, obviously, but I mean, there's tiny little snippets that you can see, oh, this has a chance.
Someone who maybe cares a little bit more about you, their patient, than just their job.
Yeah, exactly. So, and there are a lot of people out there like that, but unfortunately, I see just as much. Like, we work with some amazing social workers at work. Mm-hmm. We work with some amazing nurses and doctors that will go out of their way to help you, to heal you. We have a lot of great people. But through my years working in the medical field and working and seeing, going through the mental health as well. There are also a lot of people that are like, no, fuck this guy. Like, you're another number. You're a statistic. You're a paycheck for me, and that's all you'll ever be, you know. And I'm just saying, sometimes if your therapist just lets you spark up a blunt and talk about your feelings, that's not a horrible thing. And obviously, I love my flower. I like the smell of it. I like the feel of it. I like the taste of it. But like Roxy, she hits her little oil pen. And it's basically what the oil is. One, it's concentrated, so it's stronger.
Right.
So you don't need as much of it. You know, you need a toke to balance yourself out type thing. And it comes in several flavors. And, like, you can do it indoors because it smells like vape, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one thing that's nice, and one thing that how far it's came. Because look, man, I started smoking pot in the fucking woods 3 miles from the goddamn movie theater that we were gonna go see, smoking it off a pop can with holes poked in it, and like you had to pick out all the seeds for like a 20-minute high. And by the time you got in the movie theater, you're like, well, that was stupid because I'm stone cold sober now. And that's when I first started out. Now we have these pens that can be charged on a computer,
right,
that have oil that you could use sitting here, me and you, right now, and no one would ever know the difference. That's fucking crazy. That's maybe a 12 to 15 year span.
Yeah. Yeah,
that blows my mind.
The technological jump in just our lifetime for things even like weed is just astounding.
Weed, cell phones. I mean, dude, the first iPhone came back in fucking 2007.
Yeah.
The year I graduated. You know, 23 years down the line, or what? In 23 years. God
23
damn it.
years.
You know what I meant. 13 years down the line or whatever. Look at how far they've advanced. Like, I can't get my head around, like, what's happening and what's gonna happen. Now Elon Musk is talking about putting chips in people's heads. Like, hey, calm down there, buddy. I'm not ready for that yet. Like,
I don't trust like that yet.
Maybe you should work on like more Google Glasses type thing. I'd be down for that. I wear glasses all the time. So
yeah,
I'm in. I want some Iron Man type shit, you know? Right? When it comes down to it, I don't really celebrate 420 real hard because it's kid thing, you know? And
sure.
As you get older, you're like, oh, I kind of use this. It's like if you're taking your medicine every day, but one day a year you're like, fuck yeah, I really love taking my medicine today, you know? The normal person never does that.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing. You know? And
well, I mean, right. I think what you're trying to say, or what I feel like you're trying to say, is like maybe one day it'll be, 420 won't be a day that matters anymore.
I hope it's not.
There are a lot of people who probably smoke weed every day. You know, Snoop Dogg, our guy, our Lord and Savior, I'm sure.
Right.
That's what he does.
The patron saint of Kush.
Yeah. But like, it's treated almost like it's pretty much just a holiday that exists to specifically push back, to say like, hey, I don't care if you tell us it's illegal, we're still doing it.
Right.
It's and power to you guys. I appreciate that, something is called out and is said, like you're telling all these lies about what it is and what it does and what it isn't. But the truth is, it's out there. Scientists have sussed it out. They've done the research. I've heard more than my fair share of it over the course of my life because, I was in high school once too. And a lot of the students in my class loved, like, oh, you guys write a report that you will tell in front of the class. There was always the one kid who had to pick marijuana.
Oh, yeah, he had to. Yeah.
But, and I'm not saying that he's like, a higher class of person for choosing to fight for this thing that's illegal.
Yeah.
But there's an ounce of respect for me. And I think, especially now at the age I'm at, I'm looking at it like, I don't know, fuck it, let people have this, Yeah. I don't think it's something that it doesn't, it's definitely not something that's killing people. I mean, not unless it's, people getting behind the wheel under the influence, but beyond that, not really. I don't think people are like, again, like you said, you don't really overdose on marijuana.
Fall asleep. Like,
it doesn't like fuck up your kidneys. It doesn't fuck up your liver. You know, it at least as far as we've seen, it seems to have not bad lasting effects. No. So there's really no reason to keep it illegal.
There really isn't.
And this is my perspective as someone who's never done it.
Yeah. And there was no urge to do it. and I mean, that's more than fine, you know? Anybody who doesn't want to do it, I'm one of those... Here's one of the things that I hate. It's those guys that walk around with the pot leaf necklace and the Bob Marley shirt that, like, he's like, man, 420 is my shit. Like, that's not stoner culture. That's an idiot. Mm-hmm. Like, but then again, anybody who dedicates theirself, who defines themselves by one thing or one substance, irritates me.
Right.
You know, because the human brain is capable of so many different things that you're going to fixate on this one.
I like to drink alcohol, but I don't go up to alcoholics, people who define themselves by drinking alcohol, and go, "Damn, dude, you're doing it right. You know what you're
right,
like,
exactly.
What kind of life you're like." It's like you need to define yourself by more than just one thing.
And you should. Like, I
no, that's not to say. I mean, if you make friends through smoking weed,
that's awesome.
Whatever, right? That's cool. You make friends through drinking alcohol, cool. But don't make that your one characteristic, because you're not going to have a lot of quality friends if that's
you're really not.
Those are the only things about you that matter.
Like, that's the cool thing about a lot of my stoner friends. Like, there'll be times where I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna come over. We'll smoke a little bit, chat, have some fun, play some games or something." But there's also when I'll hit them up like, "Hey, man, you trying to go to the gym today?" Or like, you want to go for a drive, you want to do something. Like, my world doesn't fixate on getting high. Mm-hmm. So, like, to me, getting high is kind of like
supplement.
Yeah, it's a supplement, or like it's something that we're going to do 2 or 3 things down the line after we've exhausted these other 2 things,
Yeah.
Or we're doing it for a reason. Very rarely we're like, "Man, I just want to get high to get high." Because, like, okay, to me, that's not fun. Getting high to get high is just, in a way, childish. Like, if I'm getting high, I'm probably doing something else. Like I said, I love cooking when I'm high. And I absolutely love watching movies when I'm high. Or something like that. Because I'm going to go back and I'm going to say it again. It amplifies the situation. It makes what you're doing that much better. Now, obviously, you have to use it in the right dosage. You have to use it... because it can go horribly wrong. As I told you, I was dying in a bathtub. So, I tripped balls in
Everything in moderation.
Everything in moderation. Just like alcohol, just like food. Fuck, I mean, how many Americans don't take food in moderation?
Yeah.
And you probably don't see them criminalizing
one of our biggest issues.
Yeah, that's obesity's killer in this country.
Yeah.
It kills me that, like, cigarettes, for instance, like, cigarettes will legitimately kill you, but they're like, "Nah, it's fine, it's cool." But weed, that'll alter your mind in the smallest little ways. That shit needs to go. But no, that's cool. You can keep smoking on that fiberglass cigarette, though.
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't understand it, but, I mean...
Is there one last thing you'd like to touch on? One more breach into a short little topic here.
I actually do have some fun little facts about marijuana.
All right, let's hear them.
Let me see here. Bloop. Let me get this here. Boom. Like I said, one of the ones that I had was our forefathers loved marijuana. Like, all of them grew hemp from Washington to all the way up to Adams, and I think a few after that. I'm not real familiar with presidents, but yeah, they grew hemp. There's actually a place in the world, the Kingdom of Bhutan, Bhutan.
Okay.
Bhutan. Cannabis is about as common as grass over there. Like,
okay.
It grows so easily because everything is so perfect for it.
Huh.
But yet, they actually used it to, like, feed pigs, and it's commonly viewed as, like, a as like a weed, like we view dandelions. You know, like that's crazy. Shakespeare actually smoked cannabis.
Reasonable. That makes sense.
They found, like, in his garden outside of his home in Stratford, they found 400-year-old pipes. Like, that had THC residue, because the thing about THC is a very sticky molecule. Like, it sticks to things.
Yeah, I could see that, yeah.
So when you're peeing it out, like, they do pee tests to see if you smoked or whatever. When you're peeing it out, it sticks to your urine. So that's how they detect it. Richard Nixon unwittingly helped Louis Armstrong smuggle cannabis through U.S. Customs.
Really?
So, in 1958, when Vice President Nixon was at the New York airport and happened to see a very nervous-looking Louis Armstrong, who happened to be carrying 3 pounds of cannabis in his suitcase, about to pass through customs inspection, Nixon walked over him, offered to carry Armstrong's bags, and just walked the trumpet player past inspection without any trouble. So yes, a president helped smuggle some weed into the country.
Nice.
3 pounds of weed. Also, Louis Armstrong jazz is phenomenal.
Hell yeah.
Stoned or not stoned. It's amazing.
I absolutely agree.
Cameron Diaz actually bought cannabis from Snoop Dogg in high school.
Huh.
They went to the same high school. They knew each other before either one of them were famous. Like,
That's
she has readily admitted, like, yeah, I actually bought weed off of Snoop Dogg. Like, Snoop Dogg, I mean, this day and age, he's got to have some killer fucking weed. I'm pretty sure he has his own designer weed.
Yeah.
Like...
Well, he brags about it in his song, doesn't he? He's got the best shit.
I think so. The ancient Egyptians used cannabis to perform enemas. So, literally, they were like, you could take that pot and shove it up your ass.
And then they were like, hell yeah, give it to me.
I mean... Look, if I'm getting high and that hits me like that, what is a cannabis enema gonna fucking do to me, bro? Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to find out because I had a bad run-in with some edibles. So let's just also not a huge thing of things going up it instead of out of it. So I think I'm good on the cannabis enema. Cannabis was the first product ever sold online.
Really?
In the early 1970s, students at Stratford used the ARPANET accounts at Stanford University's Artificial Intelligence Laboratory to connect with students at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in order to arrange a cannabis sale.
All right. Good on them.
So, like, nerds are like, yes, cannabis is the shit, dude.
Yeah, especially college nerds.
Oh, yeah, especially college nerds. Like... The United States grows the largest amount of cannabis in the world. Followed by Morocco and Afghanistan.
Okay. Yeah.
Literally millions, almost billions of pounds are cultivated every year. Literally, the difference between hemp and THC is one little gene. Like, one thing turned, and now you can't get high off of hemp. That's it.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, like, that they're so similar, but not. Oh, this is interesting. Babies in North Carolina tested positive for cannabis in their urine because of soap.
Of soap?
Alarm bells went off in a North Carolina hospital after they noticed an increase in newborns testing positive for cannabis in their urine. This is usually bad news for the mother, indicates she's been using cannabis, which could lead to an unpleasant visit from Child Protection Services.
Mm-hmm.
However, upon investigation, researchers discovered that there were several ingredients in baby soap formulas made by Johnson & Johnson, CVS, and Aveeno that were causing a false positive on cannabis urine tests.
Yeah, poor Johnson & Johnson. Keep.
Right, these guys are fucking up, man. To be clear, these soaps don't contain any cannabis. It just happened to look a lot like the molecule that popped on the test.
It affected the test. Okay. It's like the same idea. What is it? I think you're like there's a urban legend like don't eat too much like sesame seed before getting a drug test.
Yeah. You can get popped for. I don't know if that's true or not.
I think Mythbusters did it once, and it was like you'd have to eat a lot of it.
Oh, I could see that. I could definitely see that. Do you know that there are more dispensaries in Colorado than Starbucks and McDonald's combined? That is insane.
Yeah, that's really
state's
shocking.
High as balls, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it was originally one of the first of 2 states to legalize recreational cannabis, thus providing the model for other states to follow suit. The number of medical dispensaries is 195. The number of recreational dispensaries is 169. There's a total of 364 dispensaries in Colorado. There's a total number of Starbucks combined with McDonald's at 111. So there's 3 times more dispensaries than there is McDonald's and Starbucks in Colorado.
That's really weird. But, I mean, Colorado's one of the, like, not super populated states, right?
It is not super populated.
So, I mean, maybe I could see that. Huh.
That's crazy. Speaking of, like, selling it, legal cannabis has the potential to generate billions in tax revenue. The Cato Institute did a study. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but the Cato Institute did a study, and it found that federal government imposed taxes on cannabis similar to taxes on cigarettes and alcohol. The revenue would equal $8.7 billion each year.
Yeah. Not shocking.
It is virtually impossible to actually overdose on cannabis. You would have to smoke 1,500 pounds of cannabis in 15 minutes, which is physically impossible. Like, but those are some just random facts for you, and happy 420, guys. Like,
if it's the type of thing you want to celebrate, Godspeed to you. All the better to have it be a thing that is even brought up at all. I'd prefer it to have its own day than to be ignored.
No, it is. And I mean, one day maybe you'll get that anime day or that international lame video game day or whatever you want. Sure. You're going to need more than 6 people to play that video game, but I'm pretty sure that'll happen one day. You just keep believing in yourself, Anthony.
Yeah.
And for the love of God, just smoke some weed, bro. Or not. You know what? I'm not here to pressure you. This isn't a church. I'm not going to pressure you to join.
Good, yeah.
Oh, what if it was? Oh, wait. Never mind. This is Rastafarians. Never mind.
Could always join up with them.
Yeah. But that's all I got. I'm going to...
Yeah, thanks.
Out of here and go celebrate a little bit more 420.
Yeah, thanks for taking the lead on this one. I guess I never really got going today.
We all have our off days.
Incidentally, the fact that it just happened to be 420 on the day that you were like, hey, let's do this.
This was not planned at all. I came up with this morning.
Yeah, so it worked out pretty well. Maybe next time we'll try something a little bit different. Unless I come up with an idea I really want to do before then. But, just tossing some ideas around in the head. But yeah, thank you all for listening. If you got any funny pot stories, go ahead and drop them. Or maybe you just want to drop a little bit more trivia about it. Some things,
love it.
Some things that could be done, for the better if we went ahead and legalized it, stuff like that. Really get talking about it. Maybe share it with your friends who smoke. Joe's a fun guy. He knows how to keep this conversation going. So
I try. Damn it.
Yeah, we'll try to keep our eyes open for it. Anyway, till next time, guys.
Till next time. Take it easy. Have a good week, guys.